This is Sybert signing into Red Alert 3 on the map Fire Island with QueenOni as the Blue Soviets in the bottom left side, and PsychoTurtle, or aka Psychopath, depending on how you want to look at it, from Diversity in the top right side. This is from the For the Win number 16 tournament finals. It is going to be a best of 5, as the rest of the tournament was best of 3, and then the finals, was a best of 5. So we are guaranteed 3 games with the possibility of a total of 5, but we'll have to see. PsychoTurtle, a player that is maybe just a little bit the underdog in this matchup. QueenOni is one of those players who is widely considered to be a top Red Alert 3 player, at least one of the top ones that's still around. And I do believe QueenOni won in the previous For the Win tournament, but we'll have to see. Can QueenOni take it back in For the Win number 16, or will PsychoTurtle, coming from the losers bracket, be able to take this tournament? Well, I'm not entirely sure, but we do have really solid bear placement and, really solid kills overall from QueenOni. I do believe QueenOni was able to take out more than his fair share of Imperial Warriors. But by no means is PsychoTurtle going to be giving up in the first 30 seconds or minute and a half, whatever you want to call it. First sickle is now going to be out. We did see that refinery, or that war factory, before second ref, and not any sort of crazy infantry from QueenOni, but we do have a sickle going to be going aggressively for these Imperial Warriors. Oh, those Imperial Warriors still being given that order to attack that poor old oil derrick, which really did nothing wrong, but well, I've never actually seen that, where the sickle actually jumps to avoid that burst drone. QueenOni was able to avoid the cleverness that is PsychoTurtle. PsychoTurtle thinking, I will be oh so clever, I will be able to just throw down this burst drone, much like Wahabo did in a previous game, and just utilizing, goodness, I don't even think that has to be some sort of a bug where you're actually able to lock the unit down before it comes out of the mecha bay. Is he force firing on the ground? That is absolutely absurd. Can you force fire? The sickle just does a bunny hop, and PsychoTurtle is like, well, I better evacuate this ore collector, because why would I not? We do have the first couple of Tengus are already out. They're going to be able to take down these sickles. PsychoTurtle desperately tries to transform, and good control by PsychoTurtle, going to be saving that ore collector. We do have a couple of minor engagements here, and just on top of that transform, albeit barely, that Tengu just barely survived there. We do have the super reactor now down. Hammer tanks are officially out and not quite going to be finishing up the walls, but the MCV is on the move to get some expansion set up, whether it be on the land or at the sea. We will have to see. The terror drone is off causing terror somewhere else, or likely did get taken out, as I do believe, it did get taken out. That's right, it was over here, and this bear is playing tricks on my mind, trying to make me think that it is a terror drone. And we do have actually 3 Tangos going to be moving out, a little bit of a Tengu force, and we'll have to see the hammer tanks and the terror drone. No, it does look like the transform will be right on spot for PsychoTurtle. I thought he was going to be running out to the water, but instead he will be just simply flying away, and there goes the MCV, going to be deployed a little bit too far away. I don't think you can actually reach there. Maybe if you were the Allies, but no, the Soviets do not have that kind of range. 1 oil derrick per person, per player. However, neither one of them have decided to snipe their opponents, and we do have the sudden transporter, which likely does have that engineer and the relatively quick cap. And the terror drone will not be able to turn around fast enough to even take down the sudden transport. It looks like it will get taken out by hammer tanks. PsychoTurtle deciding to, I don't know if that was a conscious decision or if he had just accidentally misclicked and wasn't paying attention. He may have been trying to crash it onto that hammer tank so that when it got taken out, it would simply explode on top of his opponent. The bullfrogs will be able to catch across one of these Tengus. It will crash 2 of them to the ground, although that's a good hit for PsychoTurtle. Maybe not, because now that ore collector can just escape on out of there. 3 bullfrogs going to be able to force these Tengus into a transform, but with the Tengu and the hammer tanks on a little bit of a pincer movement there, they will be able to catch these Tengus unaware and eliminate the majority of them. The bullfrogs aren't there to eliminate the final Tengu. Although neither one of these players has taken a severe amount of economic damage, the Tier 2 now done on the Mega Bay for PsychoTurtle. Going to be getting himself some of those Striker VXs. Of course, now Chopper VXs. Another Tengu heading out on the left side. And those 3 Chopper VXs will be joined by 3 more Chopper VXs for a total of 6, which is actually a kind of terrifying number because Chopper VXs are extremely powerful. If they actually hit their targets, they would be able to likely take out all of these, all of the Bullfrogs, and then transition right into taking out the Hammer Tanks, which are, of course, being spotted by that Oil Derrick. We do have a little bit of harassment here. Is it really worth pulling your entire army back for? You could almost just handle it with the Terror Drone by itself. However, I guess that, oh, no, we have another engagement here, but they're not actually going to be focusing down those Bullfrogs. I guess QueenOni really wanted to make sure that this Tengu died, but it was not enough. QueenOni did pull back that Terror Drone, and then it did allow the Tengu to transform and escape on out of there. Although, no, maybe not entirely, as it's probably going to be flying past those Bullfrogs once again. They were able to snipe one right as one of those Bullfrogs switches out of that War Factory, and the Tengu does transform there. A little bit unfortunate for PsychoTurtle. PsychoTurtle can't help but feel that he simply has not done the economic damage that he has wanted. So, I don't feel that he's really been able to do enough damage. We have a lot of very strong Soviet units, and now even the Twin Blades going to be out. Just lots of individual unit snipes by QueenOni. QueenOni isn't doing anything brilliant, but QueenOni is playing standard, relatively so, playing strong, and just doing bits of damage, denying all of the harassment has effectively been denied. And now we could be having this Flak Trooper possibly even denying this harassment by himself. As we saw there, the switch over to magnetic mines, and even going to be turning the entire army back. We'll lose a Tengu, or we'll lose a Twin Blade for it. The Tengu does go down, and now that this single Ore Collector is in that heavy damage mode, it will have to get back to work. But unfortunately for QueenOni, that Harvester will be a little bit slower as it works out the rest of the days of its life. And now this Ore Collector can get back to work. Yeah, as you can see, PsychoTurtle not doing a lot of damage. He has slowly been working down these Ore Collectors, which will make it a lot easier for any of these units who manage to sneak through, whether it be Chopper VXs on the high ground over here trying to escape across this ridge, which of course is a great way to do it because then the Bullfrogs have trouble keeping up. Whether it be those Chopper VXs or Tengus or even Tsunami Tanks, whatever ends up getting back behind these enemy lines to engage those Harvesters will have a little bit easier of a time taking them out, but in the end, it won't make that big of a deal if he doesn't actually manage to take down those Harvesters. Of course, another good move, just camping on top of the Harvesters with your Tengus, and actually going to be rolling in, splitting his forces. I guess he's expecting some sort, PsychoTurtle that is expecting some sort of a Twin Blade harassment on the front line, but oh, this is not a good idea from PsychoTurtle. He's only got one Tengu there. The Terror Drone does get into the engagement. The angle is going to be really, really good here for QueenOni with the Twin Blades there, and with no anti-air support currently on the field. See, transforming those Striker VXs is a very temporary solution because the Hammer Tanks are closing in very quickly, and now good snipe of that Tsunami Tank. I didn't actually think that the PsychoTurtle was going to be able to get that hammer, or get the Tsunami Tank before the Terror Drone took it out, but he did stop right there just very briefly, took that out. More of those Terror Drones are now out for QueenOni. QueenOni really wanting to hold on to these Terror Drones, really make the Terror Drones happen. And the Twin Blade is going to be heading out around the left side. And, oh, that MCV actually did deploy. I completely forgot about that. We do have the Bullfrogs going to be pushing in here. And, now we have this other situation where actually there's no Hammer Tanks because they're completely on the wrong side of the map. I thought that he was actually going to be able to swing in there with his Hammer Tanks. However, he needs to get the Chopper VXs out of there, maybe over here, so that he can immediately transform and start dealing damage to that MCV and let the Tsunami Tanks just deal with that Tesla coil. However, here comes the Bullfrog, going to be taking a little bit of damage over on the right side. We do have the Hammer Tanks and the Twin Blades going to be engaging in force. However, with these Striker VXs here, they might be able to chase away those Twin Blades. The Hammer Tanks simply are not doing the damage that they could be doing with their main guns. I have no idea why he's just continuing to use the Leech Beam. Like, really, it doesn't do nearly as much damage, and now we have over on the right side, we have PsychoTurtle winning the battles on the left side. We do have QueenOni winning the battles, but in the back, we do have that harassment happening. QueenOni going to be switching over to that adaptive armor, but now the Striker VXs are not on the front line, being held off by those hammer tanks, or that hammer tank rather singular, and QueenOni really needs to be careful of this MCV, and on the reverse end of things, it's really up to PsychoTurtle to be using his Chopper VXs right now when he has a prime opportunity. He doesn't know that the Bullfrogs are way over here, but we do in fact know that, and it's a very low-risk situation when you have the Tsunami tanks there to support, whether it be 1 or 2 of your Chopper VXs over here. Forcing the sell-off isn't even that bad. QueenOni, that was of course the best situation for QueenOni. And yeah, losing the MCV means no more expansions. It does not mean no more build queue there. Very important to note that this Crusher Crane is still around, has been around for a couple of minutes now, and considering that it's 2 expansion, 2 ore node, I keep wanting to say 2 base, but it's simply not true. It's 2 ore node Empire versus 4 ore node Soviets, and of course Soviets, they are a very powerful faction. But instead of that power being, you know, I don't even know where I was going with that sentence, because the power is being put to pretty darn good use. QueenOni is going to be readying up for another offensive against the Tsunami tank, and we do have a couple of Striker VXs in here as they get completely sniped by the Twin Blades. Never mind! No Striker VXs are actually on the map, and that is it. PsychoTurtle has been defeated. I think that that was a little bit coming. For the past 3 or 4 minutes there, QueenOni certainly did have a strong upper hand. PsychoTurtle narrowly able to hold on there as the MCV did end up falling. But in the end, yeah, PsychoTurtle was not on top of the game there. And it really did come back to that excellent harassment denial from QueenOni, currently smurfing as Spee. But anyways, that is beside the point. We do have PsychoTurtle. Wasn't able to really get any of those forward bases really set up and really secured, and then on top of that, wasn't able to do the harvester harassment that he needed to really keep QueenOni out of the game, and as a result, QueenOni was able to take game number 1 off of PsychoTurtle. But let's go into game number 2, which is on Battle Base Beta, and is going to be pitting, once again, PsychoTurtle as the Yellow Empire versus... going to be the Green Empire, QueenOni. And of course, after game 1, I forgot to mention that QueenOni is playing random. At least these first 2 games. I don't know about the other games, because of course, since this is a best of 5, as I said, we're guaranteed 3 games. I almost said guaranteed 5 games, but that's not actually how best of 5 works. However, I do want to mention alias Lolmaker was the brilliant good person who arranged and ran this entire tournament, and it may not have been the best tournament ever made in the history of the world, but certainly when it's just one person running a tournament, that is no easy feat, and effectively for essentially no better reason than, hey, he wanted to run a tournament. We desperately needed a tournament in the Red Alert 3 community, and Lolmaker stepped up to the task. He stood up to the task as well, I suppose. He stood up to the challenge, stepped up to the task, and walked all over the path of victory. Which is what I'm gonna say. Not that any of that made any sense. Burst Drone's going to be out, and it is important to note that, of course, playing random, you never know how to open. Okay, the random player knows how to open, because they know that PsychoTurtle is going to be playing as Empire. But PsychoTurtle is like, am I going up against Allies, Empire, Soviets? What's going on? Maybe I'm going up against Kane. Just the faction of Kane. Which, whatever that actually would end up... What? Oh, goodness. I think that was a very minor micro mistake from PsychoTurtle, but we do have pretty strong infantry presence from PsychoTurtle. He's actually going to be able to push back those Tengus despite the fact that he completely messed up that burst drone. And the burst... Whoa, what is going on here, PsychoTurtle? We do have dual dojo into tons of infantry. Will it actually be enough to overcome the Tengus? The Tengus are going to need absolutely great control to overcome the eventual Tengus, I'm assuming. Wait a second, are there still no Tengus? Is he going for tier 2? Oh, a little bit of an all-in, following it up At least he got both of his harvesters out in time. Does he need both of those power plants? I'm not entirely sure. I guess if he continues to power these two dojos, he will need it. But, oh man, if he's going for that tier 2, this could be absolutely demonstrative. Demonstrative? This could be absolutely devastating, rather, to QueenOni. Going to be transforming the Tengus back on top of these units. Good job transforming them in the back of the army to take them down. And QueenOni desperately trying to rush forward there at the last moment to take out these tank hunters, but it simply was not enough. And oh, actually this one single Imperial Warrior, will it be enough to actually... Really, QueenOni is not going to be transforming there. I guess QueenOni really didn't want to be able to do the majority of the damage. I just say transforming for everything, since it is going to be Empire versus Empire, even though he didn't want a Banzai charge against the tank hunters. And oh, we do have the speed burst going to be going down. Good control. He did spam that F key quite properly, but now the tsunami tanks from PsychoTurtle are arriving. As you can see, 3 and a 4th. No, that is going to be a Chopper VX. 3 are streaming out across the map, which coupled with these micro mistakes, this is going to be a lot of pressure. Even using the Chopper VX just to take down that oil derrick before it heads over to this fight would be a great move. We do have, spending money on an instant generator is about the worst thing that QueenOni wants to be doing right now. It's not the worst thing that he could be doing, but it's the worst thing that he wants to be doing. He does not want to be spending that kind of cash, that kind of money on just getting an instant generator. But yeah, this game is pretty much over for QueenOni. There's almost no way that he can come out ahead in this game. Yeah, there we can see the fire sale, and in a very short amount of time, in just about 4 minutes or so, PsychoTurtle just took that game. So really, was that somewhat risky? It wasn't super risky. That was actually a pretty solid strategy out of PsychoTurtle, completely taking QueenOni by surprise, and I do not actually remember which faction is QueenOni's primary, so it could have been off racing from QueenOni, but that is what happens when you play random, is you better be good with all of those factions, or you can end up off racing and then have it go horribly wrong. But yeah, taking nothing away from PsychoTurtle, that guy executed that pretty much perfectly. The control could have been better from both players, but in the end, PsychoTurtle was able to take Game 2 into Game number 3, which is on Infinity Isle, and it is going to feature once again QueenOni as those Soviets, this time Cyan, and as the Blue Empire, always that steady Empire player in this series, it is going to be PsychoTurtle. And so we did see in game number 1, I keep forgetting that I'm going to put these all into one video, and I'm so used to having a multi-video format that going into a single video format is a little bit confusing. So for me, I feel like I have to keep reminding everyone, but for you, it's literally been a couple of seconds. However, we do see a relatively fast flak trooper going to be trying to deny that burst drone scouting, but also, if QueenOni is very lucky. If he was very good this year, then Santa Claus will be bringing him a nice little dojo core to destroy with that flak trooper. Or maybe some other wonderful thing to destroy. And look at those. They just look so hilarious running with their mines. Oh, and they're actually going to be destroying a building that's made entirely out of wood and, like, hay with magnetic mines, because YOLO, as the kids do say. Alright, so anyways, we are going to be seeing, it is going to be War Factory before that second ref, which of course usually means sickles or some extra terror drones. So far, we just have the sickle going to be out. The burst drone is going to be most likely trying to... Oh, but nay, will not! I was going to be saying trying to self-destruct on top of that sickle, but he was not able to because of that bullfrog showing up at the last second there. We have, once again, a really aggressive build heading out of DVT's PsychoTurtle. He's going to be heading in for lots of infantry, although this is nowhere near as aggressive as the previous one. Although, right here, what do we see between these two things? We have an oil derrick that isn't defended, and we did have some downtime. Great splitting of his units and a complete trap for those sickles. One of the sickles gets eliminated almost immediately. And are we going to be seeing the Mecha Bay follow up with Tier 2 or Tier 1? It looks like it may very well be that Tier 1. That was a great call. That was a great call by PsychoTurtle. Not as great of a call that time. However, he did split well there. And then, oh, his micro could be a little bit better he almost had that split into fire perfect. He got it almost exactly perfect. Good splitting, great splitting from PsychoTurtle, and of course when you do split your units that much, you of course run into the chance that they're too far away to actually be able to support each other. But we do have a couple of sickles going to be going down. Is it going to be Tengus? Where were actually the first units? I guess it will actually be that tier 2 before any units for PsychoTurtle. He's wanting to keep this pressure on with these infantry and not actually transition. Oh no, we do have the first Tengu going to be out. He was going for the harvesters, and I did miss that. However, the flak trooper is able to hold that off. Well, are we going to be seeing more tank busters? I don't know if this is going to work. It is, of course, going to come down to the micro between each of these players. Will the splits be good enough from PsychoTurtle? Will the jumps be good enough from the sickles and QueenOni? He doesn't have anything to crush, and he can't spend the time and the money to get out a super reactor to get any hammer tanks. And oh, going for those terror drones would be so tempting, but with this many tank busters and even these Imperial warriors, which are double vet on the battlefield, it is so dangerous. But more sickles are going to be popping out, and this is just forcing the units down and further away from each other. But with a fully heroic tank buster, I think that PsychoTurtle may be able to hold here. He almost needs to just go for the war factory and say, screw you sickles, I'm going to be sniping this war factory so that no more of you can come out. Did he get the sell-off? I think that was a cash back from that Soviet support power, but do we have anything more from that Mecha Bay? Because with the war factory down and the Mecha Bay established, possibly even the tier 2, is it going to be? Yes, it was that tier 2 upgrade for PsychoTurtle, so he hasn't been canceling stuff. He did sell off the barracks, which I think is a great move at this point. He's going to be forcing the rebuild of that war factory, which is like 30 seconds that QueenOni does not want to have to spend. And now, still, with no super reactor up just yet, that means no hammer tanks. The bullfrogs are going to be in relatively short supply because of how many sickles were built. Never mind. I was going to say, with how many sickles were built, there's, going to be a shortage of bullfrogs. Just kidding, because one bullfrog is apparently enough to overcome the Air Armada, which was a single chopper VX from PsychoTurtle. However, is this going to be enough? PsychoTurtle is going to need to control pretty darn well over the next 30 seconds to a minute to really decidedly secure his lead in this game, because so far it seems like he would indeed have a lead. Oh, taking out that harvester is brilliant. Absolutely great from PsychoTurtle. Will he be able to take out another harvester? The transform is simply not good enough. Oh, actually it was. I keep calling everything a transform, but the special ability of that adaptive armor did actually take place, which means that QueenOni was in fact able to save that one ore collector. Going to be getting the second one on the way, but that is 1,400 credits after dropping a total of 4 grand, having to rebuild all of that stuff. Going to be going possibly for an oil derrick capture. That would be a nice slight boost, but in the end, it's not going to be all that worth it. However, QueenOni is looking to win over the course of the next couple of minutes after selling that MCV and saying, hey, you know what, I don't want any more expansions unless I have to spend the additional 5 grand on that MCV. Doesn't even have a crane. We do have a 3-2 split, which should be enough to take down the harvesters. No, just kidding, because that harvester is now on the safe side of the walls, which isn't actually safer on the outside of the walls if you just transform on the outside. Of course, if you're able to phase through the ore collector through like the refinery and escape that way, then that's always pretty good. However, we do have great use of these terror drones, and going to be taking out a couple of conscripts, not too big of a deal. PsychoTurtle not going to be able to control as well as he would like to really get on top of those tanks with his Tengus and do that explosive final damage. QueenOni doing a good job of locking down those Tengus to avoid that sort of a possibility. QueenOni does not want to be taking any more damage than he has to, and I do believe the MCV was in fact sold off by both of these players, which means we could very well be seeing a relatively short game, as expansions are going to be hard to come by over the next minute or so. Locking down that Tengu once again, great control by QueenOni. Although, what does QueenOni actually have to deal with these 4 sickles? Do we have an additional bullfrog? We do have 1 bullfrog on the low ground. 1 more did get taken out on the high ground. And I'd say it's kind of curious that QueenOni actually did go for that observation post to be able to snipe down one of those. Oh, man. One of those chopper VXs. QueenOni, with just these individual units, both in Game 1 and in this game, doing such a good job. And that Ore Collector is almost guaranteed a kill, or a death, rather, because when that Tengu explodes... Oh, actually was able to take it down even with that adaptive armor. So, hey, you know what? PsychoTurtle was like, hey, screw you, adaptive armor, as QueenOni micros back just to make sure that he doesn't take any additional damage on those hammer tanks. And there go the Chopper VXs. They're going to be heading off to the front line, most likely going to be seeing if they can poke in here and do a little bit of damage. However, it does... That was really, really curious. As you probably could notice on the mini-map, right as those Chopper VXs turned around, also, so did the Bullfrogs from QueenOni. That was almost like magic. Someone said to me one time, it's like magic when those Bullfrogs just turn around at just the right moment and they're everywhere that they need to be. From PsychoTurtle's point of view, they were over here when he didn't even know it, and then he turns around and they're over here completely blocking his attempted oil derrick snipe. However, they of course were not blocking those Tengu, that Tengu harass, which as you can see, oh no, actually may escape. Not fortunate enough to escape, although QueenOni runs right on top of that Tengu to try and take things down. And there goes that transform for the Tengu. He will be able to escape on out of there. The Bullfrogs were not in a position to deny that unit. And oh, actually going to be turning around. So he says, hey, you know what? Don't stay on the front line. Run back to your base. Although, once again, do you really need all of these hammer tanks, all of these Bullfrogs to be all in one location? If PsychoTurtle was a more clever man, he might actually be trying some sort of a dual-pronged attack where he distracts with a Tengu, sees, hey, the entire army is back here. I can snipe one of these oil derricks. I can snipe this observation post. I can do something with my massive cloud of Chopper VXs. However, that is not going to be the choice, or maybe it will be in the next couple of moments, as possibly the entire army on the mid-ground gets turned around for almost no reason, since there's already units back here to defend. We do have a Tengu going to be transforming over here, getting met up with this other Tengu. And are we going to be seeing a base race situation? Oh, we don't have anything out on the water, and I completely forgot about the MCV sell-up. But with the Chopper VX is going to be rolling up on this base, they're going to be able to do absolutely massive amounts of damage, turn around to diversity, and take out these Bullfrogs, which are going to be eating your Chopper VXs alive. However, the Chopper VXs are not strong enough to take down the Bullfrogs. All but one does go down, and that was pretty much just a bad situation because you can't really run from the Bullfrogs very well. You almost have to turn and engage, but with the hammer tanks, none of them are back home, or are they? One of them is back home. Almost no economy is currently on the map for QueenOni. Instead, it is going to be just some empty refineries crashing, and there QueenOni has been defeated. Because I guess with that, with no real production structures, no real economy from QueenOni, he felt that he simply did not have what it takes to win. And as you can see, the units just simply drop off there for DVT Psychopath, as he does lose all of those Chopper VXs. And I was actually kind of surprised that QueenOni left that game. I thought QueenOni was maybe going to be able to force it, but I guess he did lose too many of those hammer tanks. As you can see, resources actually ended up favoring PsychoTurtle in the end, just because he was able to snipe down those harvesters and keep them down that particular time. However, that will do it for game number 3. Now on to game number 4, which could be the deciding match, as PsychoTurtle has taken the previous 2 games, and QueenOni, of course, took game number 1. So we'll have to see, will game 4 tie it up, or will we see an ace match? QueenOni, I do not think, will be so easily defeated, but we will have to see. This is a not Sybert signing out. I'll see you in Game 4, which is on Snowplow and will be featuring PsychoTurtle as the Red Empire on the top side, and as the Orange Allies, we do have QueenOni, so this is going to be game number 4. Remember, this is a best of 5, and of course, we do have the barracks going down right away, and triple dojo being deployed, and it looks like that was a little bit of a bug there for PsychoTurtle. Most likely that was a bug, just the barracks not deploying properly, which is not very uncommon at all with Empire. It's such an interesting mechanic, the way the buildings work, but it simply was not executed as well as we would have all liked, considering how buggy those darn little cores end up being. We do have very similar openers from both of these players, relatively relatively similar across all of the games that we have seen today. The first 3 games opened up very similar to this, and we'll have to see who that ends up benefiting. We will have a fair amount of allied infantry coming out for QueenOni, but we'll have to see, is it actually going to be enough? And those burst drones, always going to be out for the Empire player, always a great choice. Such a great scouting unit for Empire, and are we going to be seeing the same sort of a heavy infantry sort of style from a Psychopath that we saw previously, which actually ended up working out pretty well in a couple of the games? He was able to put on a lot of pressure, do some damage, and really put QueenOni on edge. We do have the first Riptide out, which, if my eyes do not deceive me, that does mean that that Riptide is going to be filled with probably 2 Javelin Troopers and at least 2 Peacekeepers, although the 5th unit is a mystery unit at this point. I do not remember what it was, although I would guess 3 Javelin Troopers and 2 Peacekeepers, but I'm not entirely sure. Are they going to be going for the main base? Sometimes you do see players head over here, and then they'll have an engineer packed up in there to capture one of those oil derricks, and then they will head off to the main base. And although that is a ton of infantry out for PsychoTurtle, he's going to be trying to chase away this Riptide. As you can see, he wasn't able to do too much damage, and we do have him taking the high ground. He has a similar plan over here. He wants to control the high ground here, and actually, I don't know, can Tank Busters reach the ore collector from over here? But it has been spotted by QueenOni. He knows that something is in fact up. He's going to need a ton of Peacekeepers to break this location. Going to be bringing up the full health Riptide there, as he does go for the almost insta-snipe on the barracks, and he will be able to take down that Imperial Warrior before he was able to claim any of those Javelin Troopers. 4 Javelin Troopers and just that single good old Peacekeeper. We do have the Apollo Scouts going to be moving out. No, this is not Apollo controlling these Scouts from afar, but they are, of course, those Apollos. And actually pretty good sniping there from QueenOni, able to pull back that second Riptide at just the right moment to not lose it. He absorbed quite a bit of damage with that, did the damage with his other Riptide, but instead wasn't able to actually do it. Good splitting of the bombs from QueenOni, but will it be enough? This is a lot of infantry, and actually QueenOni doesn't have a whole lot to deal with it. Just simply an oil derrick over there. All of his infantry are on the other side of the airfield, and with the naval yard already being sold off, that means that there are not going to be any more of those wonderful Riptides, which, I mean, his entire army just got cut through. PsychoTurtle, did he just do it? He did! Whoa, PsychoTurtle in just under 4 minutes, able to convincingly destroy QueenOni with heavy aggression infantry tactics, and QueenOni could not take the pressure. That does mean that PsychoTurtle was able to take 3 games off of QueenOni in a best of 5, taking it to a 4th game, 3 games in a row for PsychoTurtle. So I guess PsychoTurtle has found his new calling, which is going to be those aggressive infantry tactics. Once again, this was from the For the Win number 16. A big, huge, great shout out to Alias Lolmaker, who was nice enough to organize and run the entire tournament. Put a lot of hard work, put a lot of hours into this tournament, and I hope he feels that it did pay off, because this tournament was pretty great, with PsychoTurtle going to be taking the wins off of none other than QueenOni. But that will do it for this series. I hope you enjoyed it, as my voice decided to die partway through, pretty much at game 1. But that will do it. This is Sybert, signing out.